It's just something very different to what I've read from Leigh Bardugo so far. I don't like the romance. Are we surprised? I think it's a me thing. I haven't even started talking yet and I already feel like I'm out of breath. But hi, I have just received a Waterstones parcel in the mail and I thought I would open this on camera because I'm pretty confident that this is my copy of The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. This is the Waterstones special edition, so it has stenciled edges and all of that jazz. So I thought we could open it together. Ooh, okay. Oh, it's upside down. So this is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo and it has beautiful stenciled edges. I don't know if that is gonna focus. I think it also has, it has really lovely end papers as well, and it has a little design on the hardcover. I don't know if that's exclusive to the Waterstone special edition. I do tend to read my hardbacks with the dust jacket off, so that's a nice little addition. I really love the cover of this. I mean, love is a strong word, but I really like the cover of this because it screams gothic to me, and that's what I'm expecting from this book. I know it's set during Spain's golden age and it's historical fantasy. It follows a main character called Lucia who has some kind of magical ability, and when her mistress discovers that she has this talent, she demands that Lucia uses those gifts to win over the royal court. So I'm expecting this to be quite political, and yeah, this is me giving Leigh Bardugo a second chance or a third chance. I haven't really enjoyed her last 2 books or 3 books. I hated King of Scars, which was the 6th book in the Grishaverse. I loved it up until that point, and then it kind of went downhill for me. And then I loved Ninth House, didn't love Hellbent. So this is me giving Leigh Bardugo one last chance because she used to be one of my favourite authors, and now I'm scared that I've outgrown her writing or something like that. But yeah, I think this is adult fantasy, and I do tend to prefer her more adult writing. We'll see how I get on with this. I will check in with you once I've made a start, and this vlog is going to be spoiler free, so if you don't want to know anything about this book, I mean, if you don't want to know anything, why am I struggling to get my words out? If you don't want to know spoilers for this book, then do not worry, I won't be going into too much detail. I'll just be talking about the vibes and the themes and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I will check in with you maybe once I've read the first 50 or 100 pages. How long is this actually? Oh, it's less than 400 pages, so it's not as long as I was expecting, but we'll see how the pacing goes and whether I can read this quickly or whether it's more of a slow-paced book, because it's giving me that gothic feeling. I feel like it might be quite a slow read, but yeah, very excited. Hoping I love it as much as I used to love Leigh Bardugo's books. So I am only 40 pages into The Familiar, but already I am getting a really good feeling about this book. I'm feeling a similar way to when I read Ninth House for the first time, not because they're similar or anything like that. I think it's just a feeling. I really like the atmosphere and how this takes place in Madrid in the 1600s. There's been a few phrases and words that aren't familiar to me because of the time period, but that's absolutely fine. It just means that I'm having to take my time with it and read it a lot slower than I would like a contemporary fantasy. Our main character is called Lucia, and she is a scullery maid for this couple who are part of society, but they don't have that much money, and the wife isn't that charismatic, so they're not really seen, like they're not held in high regard within this society, but the wife is desperate to change that. So when she learns that Lucia has a magical power, she starts bringing her out and making her perform for their guests, and Lucia only agrees to this because she thinks that it could better her position. If someone from a better household finds out about her, then she might be able to change jobs and earn more money. However, she's also very aware that the reason she has this magical power is because she's Jewish, and if the Inquisition find out about her, then she could be killed or at least imprisoned. That's the main setup for this plot, is we're following Lucia and we're getting to know her life basically as part of this society within this household. And yeah, I'm really liking the atmosphere so far. Not the biggest fan of Lucia. I mean, I just don't feel that much towards her. She doesn't feel like she has that much of a personality, but that could change. And actually, as long as I'm enjoying the setting and everything else, it doesn't bother me if I don't love a main character. So very excited to see what direction this goes in. I don't think I actually mentioned, but I heard Leigh Bardugo talk about this book at the Hellbent talk that I went to last year, and it sounded really intriguing. So yeah, I think that's also why I'm so excited about this book, because I heard her talk about it before it was even announced, and it's just something very different to what I've read from Leigh Bardugo so far, and so far I'm really liking it. I'm really excited. So it's currently Sunday and I'm about to head out for breakfast with my mum, but she's just texted me saying that she's running late. So I thought I would update the vlog first, because I have been making steady progress with The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. I'm currently 122 pages into this and I'm still really enjoying it. I think it helps that it's something completely different by Leigh Bardugo. It feels very deeply rooted in this historical setting, and that's something that I want from a historical fantasy. I want to feel immersed in the setting. I vaguely remember learning about this time period in school. I have vague memories of learning about the Spanish Armada and stuff like that. Basically, during this time, Spain was at war with England, mostly due to political and religious differences. The Spanish Inquisition lasted for centuries and they executed thousands of people, including those who were Muslim or Jewish, and some people chose to convert to Catholicism. I always struggle to say that word, but many people chose to convert to try and avoid execution, and that's the background to this story. I think Leigh Bardugo has done a really good job of drip feeding the information and the context so that you understand certain characters' motivations and actions. Our main character, Lucia, is very much motivated by this desire to better her station in life. We've also been introduced to another character who I'm finding very interesting. He is linked to this powerful nobleman and he essentially does whatever this nobleman says. He's forced to do his bidding and he is motivated by this desire to become free and to escape this situation. I don't know whether this is going to have a romance. It's very difficult to tell and predict with Leigh Bardugo because she does tend to include romantic relationships within her books, but they're usually a slow burn, and I don't know how that's going to work with a standalone. I think this is going to have a romance, but I don't know how much of a focus it's going to be within the plot. Might be wrong on that, so I will try and remember to clarify once I'm further in. But yeah, I am liking this so far. I'm really hoping that this delves deeper into Lucia's magic, because so far all we really know is that she can cast these little spells that she calls little miracles. I don't know whether it's going to be left as like a soft magic or whether we're going to get more of an explanation. We do know that there's some link to language, but yeah, I'm hoping that this does delve deeper into that because I am someone who loves learning about magic. I don't know how many updates I'm going to do for this vlog because it's less than 400 pages. I'm thinking I might do an update around the halfway point and then another just before the ending, but we'll see how I'm feeling and how much I actually have to talk about. So I've reached the halfway point in The Familiar and I wanted to check in with you, even though I don't feel like I have many more thoughts than the last time I spoke to you. I think this is really well paced for a standalone, but I'm now at the point where I want it to push just a little bit further. I'm okay with the book being slow overall, but this has some really interesting themes, and at the moment it all feels a bit too surface level, so I'm hoping we delve a little bit deeper in this second half. I think if you liked the balance between fantasy and history in the Winter Night trilogy by Catherine Arden, then maybe look into The Familiar. Obviously the writing style is completely different, but I thought the Winter Night trilogy had a really good balance between this historical setting and the history. I thought that the fantasy elements were really well incorporated within the historical setting, and I think The Familiar is doing something similar. Last night I read another 60 to 70 pages of The Familiar, and I'm still really liking this. I'm really liking the plot and how it feels compulsively readable. I trust Leigh Bardugo to deliver something unexpected. I feel like this isn't going to end necessarily how I think it's going to end, just based on other books of hers that I've read. She's not afraid to really go there and to do something surprising. So I am finding that when I'm reading this, I'm turning the page wanting to find out what's going to happen next, and I really, really like that. What I'm not enjoying as much is the characters, and in particular, I don't like the romance. Are we surprised? I think the relationship between the two characters feels a bit forced, and this is going to sound really petty, but when they first met, I think they'd only spent like 2 occasions together, like they'd only met twice at this point, and the love interest had this thought about the main character that indicated he was thinking about her in a romantic way, and I just thought, really, you've met each other twice, and I know that it can happen in reality, like I get that, but I'm someone who likes a proper slow burn. I don't want the characters to be thinking about each other in that way until they've actually spent time together and they actually know each other. To me, that's what a slow burn is. Like, it's the definition of a slow burn, and I can see that this is trying to be a slow burn, but it does feel very forced. Because this is such a new release, I haven't heard anyone else really talking about this. I've only seen like a few reviews, but nothing in like loads of detail. So I don't know whether it's me that's the problem and whether loads of people are gonna love this romance. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna really like the romance in this. I do feel like the characters remind me of other characters that I've read from Leigh Bardugo in the past, and maybe that's its downfall, is that I'm comparing this too closely. That's the only thing that I'm not really liking. Anytime there's anything romantic involved, I just roll my eyes because it's just not really doing anything for me. I'm not feeling invested. Yeah, even though it's only a small part of the book, like this is not a fantasy romance. It's not that kind of book. I am interested to see how this ends. I feel like I might have said that already. I have around 150 pages left, so I might try and finish this tonight. At the moment, this is feeling like a 4 stars, which is a definite improvement on the last few Leigh Bardugo books that I've read. Considering I went into this with open expectations, I'm actually really happy with how much I'm enjoying it. Just really hoping that the ending doesn't let it down. I feel like the ending to this vlog is going to be a little underwhelming because I have now finished The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, and I'm going to give it 4 stars, but it's an underwhelming 4 stars. I loved the beginning of this. The first half gave me that feeling where I was thinking, yes, this has potential to be 5 stars. But then as soon as the romance was introduced, I kind of lost interest. And I think that's why I found some parts of the ending a little bit tedious. I think it's a me thing. I think I wanted this to focus more on other aspects, and it focused more on this romance, and I didn't like the romance, so that's why I guess I didn't enjoy the second half as much, but I enjoyed it enough to give it 4 stars, and I would recommend this. Even if you haven't enjoyed Leigh Bardugo's most recent releases, I think it's worth giving this a go if you are interested in the plot, if it sounds like something you would enjoy. I think even if you have enjoyed Leigh Bardugo's books in the past, you're not automatically guaranteed to like this because it does feel so different to her other books. I think I am going to wrap up this vlog here because I'm really struggling to think of anything else I have to say about this book. Usually I make quite a lot of notes on my phone as I'm reading a book, and especially once I've finished a book, usually I have a whole page of bullet points that I want to go through. But yeah, this was fine. I enjoyed it in the moment, but I don't think it is going to stick with me long term. Let me know in the comments if you've read this and what you thought of it, or let me know if you're planning on picking it up. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and click subscribe if you'd like to see more videos from me. But otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye.